Hi guys, my name is Ricky. I'm from TopSquad. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about Blackbox testing. Can I give you guys a little bit about the outlines? The first part would be what is the Blackbox testing. The second one would be type Blackbox testing. And third one, I'm going to say about some Blackbox testing techniques. And last but not least, we pros and cons of this kind of testing. Let's get started. So first of all, we need to know what is Blackbox testing. I can say simply put, Blackbox testing is like kind of test you only care about the input and output of somewhere. Normally, a test team will need to know the inside details such as code, logic, and development method. I can say more about it that Blackbox testing can be used throughout the development cycle. It can be utilized in many stages, such as unit testing, integration testing, acceptance testing, and system testing. So we can divide Blackbox testing into three types testing. First one would be router testing. In this test, we can divide test cases basically from functional requirements. On the next one, the non-functional testing. All test cases virtually was revised on non-functional requirements. And the last one, which is question testing. This test is basically conducted after we fix bugs or having new features. Okay, so the first one would be equivalent partitioning. This kind of testing, we test the input and output by dividing the data into equivalent classes. The data must be tested once in every range to ensure that the maximum test coverage of data is fulfilled. This is exhaustive testing, which also reduces the bureaucracy of inputs.
Okay, let's start with the first example of equivalence partitioning technique. On 10-mark tag, a day should be highlighted with color red, when a member must work more than his working capacity per day. Say his configured setting is 8 hours per day. On this, we've got valid working hour range is from 0 to 8. Invalid range could be less than 0, from 8 to 24, and greater than 24. So based on the idea of the equivalence partitioning technique, we can devise 4 test cases in total.
So the second one would be boundary value analysis. It is based on testing at the boundaries between partitions.
Let's continue with example 1. When we take boundary value analysis into account, we can add more test cases. So, for example, in scheduler, the smallest division of logging time is 0.1 hour. According to boundary value analysis, the software should be tested against 3 sets of values. So in total, we will have 9 test cases.
So we can continue with the next one, state transition testing. This kind of technique is used where some aspect of the system can be described in what is called a fixed state regime. A fixed state system is often shown as the state diagram.
So this is a diagram showing the live request workflow in scheduler. Its purpose is solely for demonstrating how to apply state transition on designing tests. Thus, it might not cover all cases in the real world. Here we can see there are 5 states and 6 events. To cover every state, every transition, we need 1 test per transition. From that, a sequence of tests is devised as below. I list them out into a table. So in the end, we have 8 test cases. Furthermore, dividing tests from a state graph is a good way to cover the valid conditions, but we may not see the negative tests. That's when the state table kicks in. With it, we can have a better approach on both valid and invalid tests. I'll mark invalid cases with /, but while there's invalid cases, for instance, at state 0, we try to edit the request. That won't do because no request has been submitted yet, let alone editing it. For the other cases, we could have similar explanations for them. In the end, we have 8 valid tests and 16 invalid tests.
As one of the additional variables, this kind of technique, we consider multiple test cases in the decision table format, where each condition is checked and fulfilled to pass the test and provide the record output. It is preferred in the case of the various input combinations and multiple possibilities.
Let's take an example of a simple planned task flow. I just use the default working hour, 8 hours per day. If there is a leave request on a certain day, the report won't record any tasks planned on that day. So there would be 2 conditions and 4 rules in total, and list them out in the table. In combination, they produce 4 test cases.
The last part would be in close this one, this type of test. When we do this kind of test, we will surely benefit from the unbiased test cases. Why is that? Because this is the result from when the developer and the tester work separately. And next, this kind of test doesn't require the testers to know much about specific languages. As a result, these tests could be deducted by the end users, and it can be viewed from the point of view of them instead of the designers. Last but not least, the test cases can be designed immediately at the moment you complete the specification for the application. Yeah. So at last, we don't get to state some disadvantages of this kind of testing. First, I could say to you that tests could be redundant because they haven't been tested by the designers. Next, the result might be overestimated because at the early stage, the requirements haven't been stated clearly yet. The last one could be that because Blackbox testing, we only care about the input and the output, so it could be a huge disadvantage in this case when you cannot test the cycle. Okay guys, this is the end of this session today. Don't forget to subscribe us, give us a like if you feel like this topic is useful for you. Bye guys.